And we're back for Lakers weekend right here at the Lakers Fast Break podcast. This is Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcast. Plus also as well Game Source and Inside Sports Fantasy Football. We'll be doing episodes soon because fantasy football is coming around the corner. Already, preseason football is underway, so go ahead and check out what we're doing at ISFF today, wherever you get your podcast. But also as well, LakersBall.com. Go ahead and check out Joe Soro as Ox1947 today at LakersBall.com. You know he's probably talking about Austin Reaves and how good he looked today. So go ahead and check out what he's doing today at LakersBall.com. Plus also, he has the weekend off, but you know when it comes to Monday, he's going to be doing some good things for Simblades with the Y.com. Also, as well, John McCallion. Go ahead and check out what he's doing this weekend in regards to his great streams at the John McCallion channel on YouTube. Of course, Lakerholics.com. And even though Jamie Sweet was camping, hopefully avoiding the cocaine bear, it was left up to me to go ahead and host the Lakerholic Spotlight earlier this morning. So please check that out on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast, Facebook, or wherever you go ahead and get the video. It was, again, feeling like I guess I took the role of Jamie Sweet. As I said before we went on the air, if you got a chance, just check out me getting chewed out by Laker Tom right there for you. But go ahead and hear what he has to say as the number one Lakers blogger that's out there at Lakerholics.com. And of course, everything that we do right here at the Lakers Fast Break, our social media. Please go ahead and subscribe. Picked up a couple more subscribers thanks to Intel Wild. Big shout out to him. So go ahead, if please join the fun to get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air. So go ahead and click on the BDI Joe right below Sean, right there for you. So you go ahead, subscribe. We're almost to 1,000. They say the first 1,000's the hardest. We're still hard. We're still working. We're still climbing. So please help us out by subscribing to the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Well, we said we'd be back for game one of this weekend. Team USA recap for you right here at the Lakers Fast Break. And stop me if you ever heard this before. Team USA came out okay, pretty good with a nice halftime lead in the first half. A little bit stronger as far as on the defensive end. More, I think Steve Kerr probably laid into them a little bit stronger as far as what they were doing in the first half this time around than when they were playing against Puerto Rico. They came out strong against Slovenia, knowing that only Zoran Dragic was the only real name player that they had on Slovenia because Luka Doncic was held out of today's game as a precaution. So basically, what it came down to is the Team USA in the second half kind of had a lull there in the third quarter as they let them back into the game to at least 14 points. They had the lead cut down to, but at the end of the third quarter, the second team of the USA came in, including Austin Reaves, who had a pretty good performance again, 7 points, three rebounds, 3 assists. Right there, providing some key defense as well this time around. A lot better showing defensively. And Team USA pulled away in the fourth and final period to cruise to a 30-point victory, 92-62. Tomorrow they play Spain, the host team, for this nice little exhibition series that they're playing in Spain. So they're going to go ahead and meet up tomorrow, 12:30 p.m. Pacific, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll look forward to go ahead and seeing that. Plus also Magic will be back for the Team USA recap then. But here today to talk about Team USA's performance. Good man indeed. You got to go ahead and check him out today, wherever you get your podcasts on Lakers Fast Breaks all over the place. It is the Magic Man, Sean Grice, the madman from Toronto. He did get out of Toronto traffic to watch Team USA cruise to a victory. And Magic Man, again, a little bit better first half. I think they were up by 18, if I'm not mistaken, at the half. And then they kind of let it start to slip away. They just seemed flat halfway through the third quarter. But once the second team units came in, they started to turn up the pace defensively. That got some turnovers. A couple of hit shots from the outside, 3-pointers, even though they were terrible once again from behind the arc. Didn't need that much again because once they started the defense and the start of the transition, that was all she wrote.
That was all she wrote, Gerald. Unfortunately for Slovenia, like you said, outside of Luka and now Zoran Dragic, they find it hard to find any kind of secondary playmaking.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very. It's a struggle for them to drive and kick because everybody could just, like you said, that defensively, the USA really was stout from the second quarter on. Very limited action. It was almost as if Slovenia was just trying whatever it took without him to try and manufacture offense, but it wasn't enough. They are very weak without him. He's their main butter and egg man, and he has to milk the cow as well. So it's very difficult for Slovenia to manufacture points without him, Gerald. I think um, obviously just an exhibition, but I think even with Luca in there, Gerald, I think Slovenia is just going to run up against better defenses, and as you said, when that happens, it lights out for them. I think.
It is because it just the defenses will just key in on Luka, and he really has no outlet. Dragic is the guy that's past his prime, so you don't know from which game to which game he's going to give you what he needs to give you offensively. Plus, like you said, they just have nothing around the perimeter or inside that's consistent for them. So that's going to be an issue for them going forward as far as what they can do to go ahead and generate some offense other than Luca. So you will probably see some miraculous games from him, like 40, 45, 48 points, maybe some 12 assists and maybe triple doubles as well alongside of it. But still, I don't think that's ultimately going to be enough to get them far when it comes to the World Cup. Maybe gets them to a second round, third round, maybe gets them to maybe even a semifinals, but I don't think that's going to get them all the way to the World Cup this year.
Yeah, absolutely, Gerald. You're right. I mean, they tried valiantly with the squad they had, but Gerald's correct. 2 years ago, they just ran into an Australian team in the semifinals, and they collapsed everything and made Luca try and be a driving creator, and that was lights out because, as Gerald emphasized, unfortunately, Slovenia outside of Luca does not have either NBA quality players, or they do have FIBA players, but they're really bench players and third strings because there is nobody outside of Dragic that could create for them. That Gregor Glass, uh, pretty good, pretty decent game drill, but that's not going to be enough, even with as you said, Luca going off for 40 or 45. They're just the dearth of talent is going to prevent them from eventually getting a medal.
Once again, it is Team USA victorious over Slovenia 92-62. It is the Magic Man, Sean Grice, along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Truly appreciate it. And when it comes to what we saw with today's game, Magic Man, that second team, the first team, as far as the starting lineup is concerned, when it comes to what you're seeing with them, that seems to be hit or miss with Halliburton. With when you have Jalen Brunson, who did probably the best of any Team USA player, 11 points and 8 assists. Anthony Edwards had 15 points, but really didn't distribute the ball very well. When it comes to the players that you see out there, my friend, in the starting lineup that they draw out there, that's going to be hit or miss. Where I think the Team USA always seems to take advantage is because of the depth, because of the fact that they can throw so many bodies out there, 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", just bodies that are long defensively. They can get in a lot of the other team in a lot of trouble, turnovers and transition points. That's going to be the key. The only thing I see as far as a problem is when they face your team, Team Canada, who has also a great number of NBA players and also a lot of depth. But until then, I see that again. It comes to the second team of Team USA coming off the bench. That's going to be hard for any other team internationally. That's maybe a Spain as well. Spain can that we'll see tomorrow. They could be a great test for them. But that second team of the USA coming off the bench is going to be hard to follow.
Absolutely, Gerald. It looks as though they really love the idea of Austin Reaves and Tyrese Halliburton off the bench as their two guards,
Hmm.
and it's obvious that the coaching staff loves putting Austin with either or sometimes both Mikal Bridges and Anthony Edwards. Basically when Austin's running the show, Gerald, he could
Hmm.
be a secondary playmaker because he can move off of Tyrese Halliburton. You're right, and they don't need to necessarily have to rely on him to be the sole creator out there. On top of that, you have either Anthony Edwards or Mikal Bridges, or sometimes it's going to be Cam Johnson open in the corner or above the break for a three. And I agree with you, Gerald, especially in transition. I think that bench is just it's venom. It's venom.
Now, the one thing that they have not been able to work out yet, my friend, is the fact that their 3 point shooting is absolutely abysmal. Both games are under 30% from behind the arc, and that has not cost them as of yet. But if they're taking 25 to 30 3 point attempts a game, especially in a international format, I at least need to see them hitting about 33, 34, 35% of their shots because it's not a longer 3 point shot. It's a shorter 3 point shot. And yeah, I understand the ball is a different size than their normal NBA that they're accustomed to, but there's not that many reasons why they should be that far below what they normally shoot as a 3 point outlet.
No, not at all, Gerald. Especially when some of these gentlemen have shot over 35% for their careers, and or just recently with Reeves over 37% in the playoffs. So the fact that there's a slight adjustment in the size of the ball, slight adjustment in the dimensions of where you're shooting, you're right. It shouldn't really be that big of a deterrent from going from being a pretty good to very good 3 point shooter to just being absolutely below average to poor to, as you said, abysmal. Before, I believe before Brendan Ingram hit a three in the third quarter, they were 2 of 13 at
Yeah.
some point. So yeah, they're really struggling. Yeah, and that's the difference in a ball game between shooting like Gerald was saying, shooting either 10 of 25 from a game or shooting 7 of 25. Those 9 points, big difference. Big difference.
Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. It is Lakers weekend. It's a Team USA wrap up as they cruise to an easy victory 92-62 over Slovenia. I do want to ask you though, Magic Man, Austin Reaves, obviously from a Lakers fan standpoint, is the key here. Another solid game, 7 points, three rebounds, 3 assists. His team defense, which was still very good in against Puerto Rico, I like that part of it. His man-to-man defense, however, was more efficient this time around. His face-up defense, the way he played tough against people driving on him, in Las Vegas earlier this week against Puerto Rico, he got beat soundly, as you and I noted on our playback.tv watch party then. So I want to ask you, my friend, when you saw Reeves today with another solid effort, passing, drifting as far as out back to the 3 point line, hitting a 3 pointer, then also being able to being available on the break, and then of course just some smart play overall, a turnover here and there, but really not too much in the way of sloppiness. Really just sound, effective ball from Austin Reeves. I think that's what you're getting, and that's what they really need for Team USA.
Yeah, absolutely, Gerald. And as we saw, Josh Hart also got his first action for Team USA.
Now that he signed his extension and
Yeah.
safely can come on to the court.
Yes. So it looks as though that there's going to be a lot of competition for a backup an off guard spot there for Team USA off the bench. I think it's going to come down to like you said, Gerald, Austin Reaves and Josh Hart, and Reaves' defense was pretty good tonight. It was NBA level, and like you said, a turnover aside, he played his smart game. 11 minutes. He's very efficient. 7 points, 3 boards, 3 assists. That's an Austin Reeves stat line for you. I just think it needs to get better, Gerald, because as you know, the further the USA moves on, the stiffer the competition is going to get. So that's a good
Absolutely.
sign to see Austin Reeves respond positively to probably a performance that we noted, and obviously the coaching staff probably let him know, hey, like your defense is a lot better than this, so we need to see a better effort from you.
Yeah, and it was nice to see him get that kind of talk, seemingly because he needed it, and he got beat and beat pretty soundly by a player who's not at the NBA level on Tuesday, and I thought I saw that as a very, very poignant weakness from him being beaten by someone who is not at NBA levels. So he must have taken that to heart. Must have been able to go ahead and the coaches got better. They must have shown him on the video where his footwork was, how where he went wrong, and how to repair it from there. So I'm glad to see that they were able to go ahead and fix some of the things at least for now. And he had a much better outing on both ends of the floor this time around, Sean.
Yeah, absolutely, Gerald. And again, uh, the the kid, he takes it in stride. I don't even think he takes it personally when you criticize him. It's just trying to get better and trying to improve on every little detail of his game. It's wonderful to see, and it's translating to Team USA. Obvious, and there are, like you said, there are good coaches there. You see, he works with Carmelo Anthony a lot, so I'm sure Carmelo Anthony and Eric Spoelstra were definitely showing him some things in the film room he could definitely work on defensively. And he played his overall game. It was very nice to see, and hopefully it continues tomorrow, Gerald, because we'll see who's going to play tomorrow against Spain.
That's a good question. It was a nice tune up today. None of the players really got extended minutes. So I think that they can easily find themselves playing. I don't see any lineup changes. Again, the starting lineup is take it or leave it. They've not shown themselves to be somewhat deficient or just overly overpowerful. Like for instance, back in the day in the Dream Team, that starting lineup beat you and pummeled you before you the first time out. So you were dead and you were gone in the water before you even knew it. This team, again, a pretty good starting lineup. You're going to have some hit and miss. Again, from the outside, they're still having their struggles, but when you see what they're doing, they're giving the minutes evenly. They're not overtaxing anyone. They're not relying on anyone in particular. So far, I like what I see as far as the distribution minutes. Steve Kerr has everyone playing. The only add-on I would say is they needed to play Walker Kessler, I think, a little bit in there, especially in the third quarter when they were getting a little bit bodied up by there was the guy on Slovenia, the big guy on Slovenia. He was actually a little bit outworking and outmuscling the guys inside for Team USA, Boncaro and Jackson. They were getting outmuscled a little bit. But outside of that, put Walker Kessler in there for 10 minutes. I think that so far the distribution minutes has been pretty solid so far for Team USA.
Yeah, I agree, Gerald. And nothing further to add other than I agree with you. I think other than inserting him during garbage time, I think you need to get Walker Kessler some stress minutes out there. See how his sea legs are with the FIBA game and how the defense translate, because he's a terror out there in the NBA. And if he could supplant himself as maybe the big off the bench, that would go a long way, Gerald.
That would go a long way, my friend. So I ask you, as the man who is really knowledgeable about what's going on with Team Canada, I talked about Team Canada being an option for them, and we'll talk about Spain here in a second because they're playing them tomorrow. But Spain is also playing Canada in the not too distant future as well. So, your thoughts on Team Canada? I talked about the one team that can match up possibly right now with Team USA from a 1 to 12 man roster right now. I think Canada can do that because they have so many players in the mix right now that have NBA experience. Your thoughts on where Team Canada stands heading into their own game upcoming with Spain?
Yeah, absolutely, Gerald. I think the pipeline is very very full right now. You have a lot of well-rounded forwards. You have well-rounded guards. They actually have, outside of Steve Nash, which was a long time ago, Gerald. They have SGA now, who's the face of Team Canada basketball. It changes the dynamics here a little bit.
Hmm.
Spain is going. I think Canada will look at Spain as a bigger test than Spain does to Canada. All due respect, I think that's just the way it is. Spain is the number one team in the world for a reason, and the United States is number two. Canada's looking up at both of them. They need to have a really good showing, even in an exhibition game, to try and show them that they're coming. Because, Gerald, as we know, in Group G and Group H, you have Spain, and in Group H, you have France and Canada. Now, one of those teams is not leaving Jakarta, Gerald. Unfortunately, they're going to be staying for a few days, and then two of them are.
Literally gone fishing.
Yes, yes. Now I haven't heard any of the fishing stories from Jakarta, but I'm sure they're very well good. But yes,
So there.
yes. One of them is going to go home, so it's a big test, Gerald. I think Canada needs to show that they're ready this time.
I want to ask you though this. I mean, again, the Team USA is not showing all of its cards as they never do in the World Cup with several players that would be expected on a Team USA Olympic team to be present and accounted for when they ultimately play for the gold medal. But I think this team is a solid team. But I think what it can do as far as a win tomorrow at Spain in Spain, because it's going to be rowdy. I understand it's a friendly, as they say in football terms overseas. It's a friendly between these two teams. It's not a actual game that counts the World Cup standings, but there's going to be some messages sent, I think, in regards to that, because Spain is a team that actually has a chance to go a long way. They've looked pretty good so far in recent efforts, and again, they have another game looming large in Canada. So, your thoughts on Spain heading into tomorrow's game, which is going to be on Fox at 12:30 p.m. Pacific, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. So, your thoughts on tomorrow's game for Team USA against Spain?
Yeah, absolutely, Gerald. Even though it's a friendly, this may be a FIBA World Cup gold medal preview
Mhm.
between the two.
Okay. That's correct. So yeah, it could be a gold medal preview. I agree with you on that. Could be something where we'll see what happens. Again, there's going to be a lot of interesting things going on there with those two teams as they face up in Spain. It is a gold medal matchup. I think it could be very much a preview on that Team USA. But although I think France, if you had healthy France, a full team in France, a full team in Canada, I think they probably have to say some things about it as well. And you never know with Luka Doncic if he goes off on a really crazy streak, how much they can go ahead and he can put Team Slovenia on his back as well. So it'll be interesting to see these type of scenarios, my friend, and I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, tomorrow's game could be a sign as far as where Team USA is at. If they continue to shoot poorly from the outside, that gives any team that they're playing against a chance to go ahead and possibly pull off the upset against Team USA.
Absolutely, Gerald, and that's obviously in the back of I'm sure every player's mind, and they're reminded of it by the coaching staff. And hey, it's looking as though the USA is heading into a different group altogether because unfortunately Giannis has withdrawn from playing in the FIBA World Cup for Greece, and the United States and Greece find themselves in the same group. So that's a big blow for Greece, and obviously tactfully, Gerald. I'm sure the USA is sort of planning 3-4 steps ahead to see what kind of depth that they want to show early on. I'm almost certain that Steve Kerr and Spo are not going to show their full deck. They're going to keep some of it close to the vest. Uh, but it should be a good test. I don't think Guzman Garuba will be playing for Spain, so that changes their defense a little bit. Losing Rubio and Garuba, taking two of their best defenders off the floor, it obviously weakens Spain just a little bit. But it should be a good test. They're the number one team in the world for a reason.
That's true, my friends. So we'll see what happens tomorrow, 12:30 p.m. Pacific, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time on Fox. Today's game I know was on FS1, but tomorrow's game is going to be on Fox Sports. Fox, actually, no, I'm sorry, Fox, actual Fox. So go ahead and check that out. Still should just be on ESPN because
Yeah.
everything on ESPN makes it easier. ESPN, there you go. But hey, Fox wants it. There you go. Fox is going to cover it. But my friend, before we head on out, a couple things to cover. First is Adrian Wojnarowski actually just tweeted just a little while ago that negotiations for a trade for James Harden has effectively been ended at this point, and that they fully intend on bringing him in for training camp. I know, all jokes aside about the gentlemen's clubs that we were making the other day on James Harden, but it looks like it's going to be at this point where he's, in order to go ahead and make sure he gets this nice extension. Well, not this extension, but the player option that he picked up for 30, what, 34, 35
I
million?
think it was around 35. Yeah,
Okay, 30, yeah,
35.6, something like that.
something like that. So, yeah, in order for him to go ahead and be able to pick that up, he's going to have to go ahead and show up. I don't know if there's a game in the future like there was when he was with Brooklyn against Sacramento, that very infamous tanking game that he decided to go ahead and do. That may be a possibility. Joel Embiid may have to talk to him. Nick Nurse, now that he's in Philadelphia, may have to talk to him. Your thoughts on this whole situation? Because it looks like the 76ers did not get a deal that they liked, so they're keeping James Harden for now, my friend.
Yeah, you know what, Gerald? I'd do the same thing. If I can't get um, commensurate value for a depreciation asset that I think is fair, I'm just gonna keep it because it either will appreciate a little bit more, or the buyer's gonna come back to me and try and work something out. So I just think Maury's playing it the way he's played it all along, Gerald. I think he's playing possum here. I think eventually Harden does get traded, but I think it's going to be on his terms, not his. When I mean his, I mean Daryl Morey's, obviously. The fact of the matter is that Daryl Morey has a relationship with Nick Nurse now, and as we know, drilled from their time with Daryl with the Houston Rockets and Nick with the Rio Grande Vipers, that he has much of a long history with Nurse as he does Harden. So I don't think Harden has any leverage or power here where he can kind of like use that to his advantage. Yeah, it was very different in Houston and Brooklyn where he seemed to try and use that leverage that he seemingly had over both of those franchises like a Damocles, like from a Vincent Price movie. But it's almost as if the tables are turned now, and Morey's the one with the Damocles over Harden because he's basically saying, "Look, you may want to leave this environment, but the problem is you signed that player option. You're back here. You don't have a trade clause, and I haven't been able to find value for you walking out the door that's coming through the door. So we're gonna have to work something out here." And Gerald, you're right. Harden may just try and uh, pull the same card he did with Houston. Yep, I'm gonna eat a 4 course meal before that big game that Philly has against the Knicks, or I'm gonna eat 8 Big Macs before Philly plays Miami. It's not at all unlikely that he could do something like that. And my God, if that happened, um, you thought Philly was brutal to Santa Claus. It's nothing compared to the Doughboy chants that are going to happen with
Oh my
him.
gosh, they'll be bringing like gentlemen's club related things to the game, and like, oh my gosh, they'll be like, yeah, they'll eat his lunch.
Yeah, they will. They literally will. He picked the wrong place to try and wiggle his way or sulk his way
You think
out
they were
of.
hard on Ben Simmons? You ain't
Oh,
seen nothing yet.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my goodness. Yes, you're right, Joe. That would
I mean,
get pretty
if
brutal.
they will throw snowballs at Santa Claus, and there's nothing off limits for a Philly crowd.
And obviously, Jared, a lot of these players, they're some of them pay attention to what's going on, I think, and some of them could care less. I think my gut feeling is James Harden could care less. But obviously, I think timing is everything in life, as they say, Gerald. I think he made a bit of a mistake verbally requesting a trade when Dame Lillard had basically done the same thing 2 weeks prior. You're kind of gumming up the works there a little bit because executives are distrustful of each other by nature, and now you're adding in two completely volatile variables there, Damian Lillard, James Harden, and without resolution, those two big matzo balls just hanging out there, along with the just mistrust and distrust that these gentlemen have for one another. It just complicates things to a level where, again, Maury just couldn't find a deal.
Yep, and we'll see what happens. I have a feeling it's going to get messier before it gets better for 76ers fans. So we'll see what happens. But as of now, according to Adrian Wojnarowski, James Harden is not on the trade market. So I think that the Clippers' days of being able to find themselves a marquee player to go alongside Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are, at least right now, done for them. So they're going to have to deal with what they got heading into their season as well. But before we head it out, my friend, got to have some Lakers talk. And you heard this morning, you said you were privy to Lakerholic Spotlight, episode 9. I stood in once again. Well, actually, last week was because that Jamie Sweet was having issues. So I basically just ran the controls and shut up. This week, I played the role of Jamie Sweet, who is out vacationing. He's camping. So we're hoping he's safe. Him and his family are having a great time. So we instead had me sitting there, and I drew the short straw. So you and I drew
Mhm.
straws last night before we went off the air, and so I drew the short straw. So I went ahead again and spoke to Laker Tom at length and discussed a myriad of issues relating around Anthony Davis at the four. And you heard me. I'm not disagreeing with Tom and Anthony Davis's desire to play the four, but his physique, his shooting skills, or to say at least his stats, I should say, and LeBron James playing on this team at his age all kind of dictate where Anthony Davis might be playing this season at the starting lineup. I mean, Anthony AD might be happier at the four, but just by sheer circumstance and the fact that the guy is not shooting that well from the outside, and we'll get to that in a minute. That was the biggest source of Laker Tom's anger at me was the shooting. Your thoughts though on AD playing the four? I know you've been very adamant about it. Again, it's not that I'm so adamant about him playing the five. It's just the fact that by sheer logistics and the way everything is set up right now, I don't see any other choice.
Yeah, you know what, Gerald? I remember
Search, you got it right. Absolutely.
when we first acquired him, and it was basically, well, he can play some five, but he really wants to play the four. Okay, it's kind of lukewarm about rocking the boat, so he likes to play the four. Move on. Couple years go by. It's obvious, Gerald. The tableau, the Kodak, whatever adjective, noun you want to use. He's a five. His best moments have come as five, offensively, defensively. The Lakers play the best when he's a five. And as Gerald said, it's just due to sheer circumstance. If LeBron James could still guard threes, that might be an option, but he
But
can't
Laker
guard threes
Thomas is saying,
anymore.
you know what,
So
that
you
aside, you
can't
don't need to
have
worry about
Anthony
that.
Davis spot.
You don't need to worry about that, according to Laker time. Don't need to worry about him playing threes or running out at threes or not. But you can't have Vando in the lineup. You got to have Rui or Christian Wood or somebody that's going to play the big, be a big out there, because you can't really have you can't really have LeBron at the four. You got to have LeBron at the three and AD at the four. You don't have to worry about guarding threes at all. That's not really, that's not
Well,
really important.
you know, I admire that LeBron and Rui have a lot of strength and muster, Gerald, but we need quickness and twitchiness as much as we can get out on the perimeter with guards and
Well,
perimeter
that's what he
players
told me,
today.
anyways. Again,
I know.
just the sheer way that this team is structured, and Rob Palenka
I
has
just
done a decent
I
job
think
of
we're
it.
we're going into an abyss. If Anthony Davis is playing the four, LeBron's playing the three, yeah, that 6-4 start for the first 10 games with the schedule the way it is, yeah, that reverse it. Probably likely 4-6, 3-7. If you're
Because
asking
you and I
those two
both
guys,
know he will not play or will not guard a three unless he feels really, just like he wants to go in the Wayback Machine and bring out retro LeBron for like, or somebody talks smack to him. He feels a little bit, every now and then he feels like, oh, I feel like I can go in the well, and he feels like he's got a little energy and juice to his game. You see
sprinkling
that
of fairy dust
Yeah,
every
you
once
see
in a
that every
while.
once in a while, and then he'll go out and guard out, and he'll man up against the
Yeah.
guy, like totally shocking the guy who has the ball. Like, oh my gosh, LeBron's actually in my face. Most of the time, we see LeBron just like 10, 15 feet away, just saying, "Go and take that jumper. Go, fine. I'm underneath to get in the rebound." It just We understand what LeBron does at this point in time of career. We understand is to save his energy for the other end of the game. The other end is the offensive end of the game. I get that. I understand that. But when you have AD, I would like him to be happy and play the four. I honestly do. But you don't have the personnel around him that would be able to satisfy him playing the four for a predominant amount of his minutes. It just does not logistically work right now with what the Lakers have. Jackson Hayes, I know Zangerstein is really high on him. I know that Laker Tom is really rooting for him. We're all really rooting for him. But again, this is the guy who couldn't even crack the roster and rotation in New Orleans. He's going to have a dramatic turnaround to be instantly that guy right now for the Lakers.
Yeah, Gerald, absolutely. And not only that, if you're asking that, that's a tall ask. I don't think it's going to happen. But you're also betting that he's going to like continue to shoot lights out from beyond the arc, and
Oh,
that
this is the
doesn't
last point. We'll talk about that in a sec.
and
Yes,
that
yeah.
yeah, and that doesn't happen either. I don't believe in hot streaks or cold streaks either. But me and Gerald have talked about this before. There is a mean. That's in math. There's a mean. You usually end up at the mean, whether that's average, mean, very good, good, whatever. Jackson Hayes is mean as a 3-point shooter is. He isn't a 3-point shooter. He doesn't take enough threes to actually be considered a 3-point shooter. So there's really nothing that you can look at from that sample size that says, yes, let's put this gentleman out on the 3-point line, Gerald, and drive and kick all day with Jackson Hayes. Yeah, try that on NBA 2K and see how that works. But this is real life.
This is real life. And I just don't think Tom gets it sometimes when he tells me I don't get it, especially when it concerns what the Lakers are as a three-point shooting team. With the guys they brought in, Jackson Hayes aside, it makes them, according if you looked on paper, incrementally better as a three-point shooting team. Are they looking to be a substantially better three-point shooting team unless something really strange happens? No, you expect them to fall somewhere between 20 to 27th place in three-point accuracy again this year. It's just way the numbers are bearing out, unless somebody really starts to have a career season. And that's something that I'm hoping that will happen. But when it comes to the reason why, if you checked out the YouTube channel for the earlier discussion, or aka argument and yelling match that Laker Tom had at me, and I'm just trying to not make him mad, but saying that's stupid and that's ridiculous as far as me looking at the numbers and seeing AD. He has found his mid range again. He was 45% from 10 to 16 feet. Excellent. Really good after a really terrible year the year before. The past 3 seasons, Magic, he is probably, I think, 25, 18, and 24% all three of those seasons. So that's about 22, 23% from behind the arc the past 3 seasons. That tells me he's not found his stroke from behind the arc. LeBron James, shooting 7 times a game, went from a 35% shooter down to a 33, 32% shooter. So the thing you're telling me now is that you want them to shoot more when they're shooting statistically some of the worst averages they have been all throughout their career. So I'm just, when I say I don't think that's right, I don't think that's good for a balanced offense, and that they're taking the majority of the threes when you have statistically better shooters than D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reaves theoretically playing with them a predominant amount of minutes, or even Rui Hashimura if he continues his good play from behind the arc. I don't know which Rui you're going to get in the regular season, but let's go off of the momentum for the playoffs even. Even Torian Prince, 37% from behind the arc, 41% from right there in the corner. Much better odds to me. But then again, Laker Tom saying, I want the team to take more threes. No problem. But I want LeBron and AD to take more threes. That's where he got upset with me, that I don't want that to happen. I want AD to take more mid range because he's coming off a really good year for the mid range once again. Where we go wrong with this, my friend? Where do you stand on LeBron and AD taking more threes? Good move or not?
Bad move. Like good idea, bad idea from Mad Magazine, Gerald, Mad TV. Good idea, bad idea, good idea. AD shooting more mid range and LeBron shooting less chucker threes with 18 or more seconds left on the shot clock. Bad idea. Uh, yeah, less is more with these guys as far as threes, as far as I'm concerned. They've got plenty of depth around them for 3-point shooting. And as Gerald said, like outside of 30 feet, LeBron had that like three-year period where he was on par with like Damian Lillard, Steph Curry, Trae Young, where he could just bomb them. His legs are gone. He can't do that anymore. He cannot do that anymore. And now he has requisite help around him where he doesn't need to chuck up a bad shot with 18 seconds left. He could throw it around the horn and try and get a very good shot. And Gerald, while Tom is correct and a lot of other people are correct that 3 is better than 2, that's correct. But there's
Well,
also
who is
another.
shooting the three?
Yeah. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So,
Or
like,
if it is broken, don't try it.
try it. Yeah. We're just gonna slam this square peg into this round hole until it actually fits, Gerald. We'll get a club, get a hammer. We'll just stick it in there. No, it's just not going to work. It's just not. Not to mention that the fact AD has played 99% of his minutes as center last year. The previous year, he spent over 74% of the minutes at the 5. So he hasn't played the 4 in about 2.5 years. That's another issue. And when Gerald and Tom were kind of when Gerald Gerald reminded me of that Billy Bean scene in Moneyball where he's talking to the scouts and he said, "Oh, you think he's a good hitter? Yeah, he's a good hitter. You bring him up to the major leagues, he'll be a good hitter. Well, if he's a good hitter, then why doesn't he hit good?" So
Exactly.
Gerald was asking if he's a good shooter, why doesn't he shoot well? Tom did not have a good response.
No, but that's the thing, if I want play, it's efficiency. And Blue, great to have you here as well. Appreciate it. Once again, it's the Lakers fast break. We just wrapped up Team USA's big victory over Slovenia in game one of their weekend slate in Spain. Want to go ahead and check out tomorrow's game as well. We'll have a wrap up of that as well. But when it comes to AD, based off of what I was talking with Tom or in the earlier show this morning, Lakerholic Spotlight, please check it out when you can. Is the fact is, if you want all these guys to take more threes, that will that take away from the transition? Will that take away from the free throw line? The Lakers did their best by playing pretty sound defense, transition games, and also as well being able to take it to the free throw lines. If you want to take some of that game away in the half court, they're not a good half court team. Let's just no bones about it. They're not and never have been a good half court team. But if you want to go ahead and have them chuck up more threes, that's fine. It's who is chucking up more threes. The Lakers need to be more efficient as a team. When you're 27th out of 30 teams in efficiency, the last thing you want to do is have two of your worst shooters on one of the worst shooting teams in the NBA take more shots from the outside when they're not even ready for it. So your thoughts, my friend, on this? Because again, taking more threes is fine for this team. If it's Austin Reaves, if it's D'Angelo Russell, if it's Torian Prince from the corner, if you're a good coach, you set these up players up for success and you get the best shot possible each and every time possible.
Yeah, 100%, Gerald. And you kind of just mentioned the three guys there that you'd probably be relying on to do that. And I imagine if you want to throw Max Christie in there, you could. But yeah,
Max Christie,
those
I got to see it. If he takes that confidence from summer league, boom, yes, absolutely. But he is an integral part of the rotation. He is a key to the Lakers season. If he progresses as well as he did in summer league, he will definitely be a great, a great part of the team. And actually, the team will most likely be a very good to really, really good team in the NBA this season. If he's not, that's a big chunk of what you want to go ahead and do. And you better have Cam Reddish ready to go ahead and be able to contribute if Max Christie doesn't get it done.
Yeah, 100%, because he's going to be relied upon to take a percentage of those shots if one or two guys are hurt or struggling. 100%, Gerald. And it's about you're right. It's about the personnel who's on the floor as well. You know, if LeBron is out there and Gabe Vincent is out there and Austin Reaves is out there, you've got you've got three really good secondary playmakers out there. Two of the three guys are pretty good drivers, and the third guy can do a little bit of everything. So yeah, personnel matters, and you don't need to as if you're not D'Angelo Russell, Reeves, Prince, Rui when he's streaky, you don't need to take 4 or 5 threes in a row and waste possessions. That was another issue that the Lakers had. Not only was our half court defense kind of half court offense in the bottom third of the league, we wasted a lot of possessions, Gerald, by those chucking shots with about 18 to 20 seconds left on the clock, or it would be a bad pass to Wenyan Gabriel or Vando under the basket. Neither one of them could catch uh, a cold right now. Uh, but yes, it's about efficiency. You can't waste possessions, and you definitely can't waste possessions with bad shooting.
Yeah, I just okay. When he's going off on me and getting adamant and getting angry, I'm like, Tom, I'm not trying to get you angry, but you're not seeing the point, and well, you're not seeing my point. Well, it's obviously we have a disagreement on it, but I'm looking at the numbers. I'm looking at the fact that why would you ask a player who the past 3 seasons is hitting 23% or 22% of his 3-point shots to shoot more? You think it's going to get any better? It usually doesn't. Okay. Oh, well, he needs to take more. He needs to take more. Well, okay. If he takes 2 to 3 more 3 points a game, does that mean 2 or 3 more misses? Or does that
Yeah,
mean, yeah,
yeah, that's really exactly what that means. Like, if you're taking enough of them and making enough of them, sure, that's enough to say, yep, you have permission. You can take more responsibility, accountability, take more shots. But if you're not shooting them, do not take them. And Darvin Ham has expressed this explicitly, Gerald. If AD is not shooting the three, we don't want him shooting the three. I really don't want him shooting the three at all. That's basically what he said, especially when he's at 22%. That's just empty possessions that are better left served for other personnel that can make a play. Gerald's correct. I'm sorry, Tom. I love you, but we can't have AD at the four, and we definitely can't have AD, LeBron, and Jackson Hayes as volume 3-point shooters of the front court. I mean, they're not
I
even our best volume 3-point shooters in the front court.
I just
Like,
don't see the logic in it. Okay. I mean, they're ultimately your star players. So they're gonna ultimately do, as I said in the show with Tom, they're ultimately gonna do what they want to do because they're the top 2 players on your team. And they basically, if they tell us, they walk up to Austin Reaves and say, I want to take more threes, guess what? They're gonna take more threes. Is
they're
it
gonna take
wise?
more threes. Yeah.
Is it wise? The stats say no.
No.
Simple arithmetic, simple statistics tell you no. When you have a 40% shooter on one side and you have a 22% shooter on the other, or in LeBron's case, if he's having a bad year, a 31% shooter, guess which one I want to get the open shot from three. I want to get the guy that's hitting 40%. It's a more likelihood, it's a better likelihood. It's what you want to do. It's what the offense, if you're truly playing a selfless offense, that's really what you want to do. If you're just going there and chucking up threes to chuck up threes, just to think, oh, it's going to provide spacing or things so it's easier for to drive or whatnot. Not necessarily. If you've seen the way these teams play LeBron, they play him to go ahead and shoot. They back off. They dare him to go ahead and get hot from behind the arc these days. The same thing with AD. If AD starts taking more shots, they're just going to back off to right around 10 to 16 feet where he's more comfortable at and let him shoot threes. And that's just going to mean that there's no one underneath to get rebounds, offensive rebounds. And that's going to be a problem for the Lakers. That's just going to be more transition points for the other team.
Yeah. I mean, like we all love AD, but even AD is not a oh god, Triceratops. Like you could just fly in after he shoots a three and get every board. He's got a huge wing radius, but it's not that big. And having him spend that much time out on there is just a waste of possession, Shield. And as you said, we had a difficult problem rebounding anyway, even with him
Mhm.
as a five. We were
Because
one
the
of the
Lakers don't
worst.
box out. They don't box
Exact,
out.
exactly. And when we made that
I'm going
trade,
to reach. I'm not
yeah,
going to jump. I'm just going to
yeah,
reach.
reach, yeah. And so one of the reasons why that trade was beneficial was again, AD notices like little things with defenders he likes and who he plays with. Um, Vando is probably in the top 10% of boxing out, Joe. He boxes out, he puts a man on him. That's what you need to do. But like, come on, if you're gonna have LeBron, Jackson Hayes, AD shooting these threes, guess what? They're not gonna box out as hard as they can because it, the efficiency and the flow is just not gonna be there.
Once again, it is Magic Man, Sean Grice, and me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Truly appreciate everyone in the chat room. The best Lakers chat room that's out there is the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate Joe, Southern Comfort, Sky Dweller, High Octane, everybody lifted, Condor, Bloodhound 73. Truly appreciate everyone out there being a part. Of course, everyone that came up earlier as well that has been a part of what we're doing. Devotion, Through the Wire, so Tears of Joy, so many Deep Purples, so many great people to talk to out there. Truly appreciate what you're doing for us right here. Kurt, thanks so much again. Scarlet and Blue, everybody got to give you a big shout out for being a part of what we're doing right here at the Lakers Fast Break. But before we head on out, my friend, again, Team USA, big victory, pulling away in the fourth quarter, 92-62. Your thoughts on what they're going to do tomorrow against Spain one more time before we head on out.
Yeah, looking for Gerald, I don't think either of these two teams are going to show many of their cards. Internationally, they played each other head to head. Oh gosh, it's got to be at least 20 times in the past 5 or 6 years. It just seems that one or two of them win the whole thing and they run into each other. Should be a good spirited affair. Again, I wouldn't expect Usman Garuba to play, so I think Spain may be not as pithy and vinegary with their defense tomorrow. So that may be a look where the USA can take advantage of them. Hopefully nobody gets hurt. That's one thing we're all hoping for here. Slovenia was very worried about Luka Doncic last night, Gerald.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, if I was a Dallas Mavericks, I'd be really worried about what's going on.
Speaking of that, I thought I'd mention they did a poll on the Mavs fan for life, and it turns out that 75% of the fan base was rooting for Slovenia today and not the United States. What a shock! What a shock!
Yep, there is. I've seen our patriotism in the past couple weeks shine right through for one reason or another, and I'll leave it at that. But high octane, no, we're not getting a cut from any of those ads. I guess once you get to 1,000, then you have to go through a certain process. As far as it doesn't happen right away, but yeah, once you become, I guess, eligible to do so after 1,000 subscribers, then you go ahead and go through the process with Google, and then they give you approval and all that. They send it in the mail and all this kind of stuff, and then and only then, once you key it into the channel, that you can get whatever small cut that you get from Google Ads on that. So we're hoping that day comes. We're hoping that day helps us out, because again, anything that you guys can do and gals can do help us out is greatly appreciated. Because once you do, you see all these great channels being supported by you great followers out there, and we'd like to go ahead and have that be as well, because that's our goal. That's our goal, is to be one of the best Lakers shows that's out there, and we think that we're already well on our way to doing that. So definitely who are going to go ahead and, well, Southern Comfort, he's not a sponsor, Simblades is, but Simblades, we promote Lakerholics.com. We promote because of the fact that Joe and Laker Tom and Jamie Sweet spend so much time as far as here on this show. It's the least we can do is give them a shout out for what they represent as well. So don't have any paid sponsors as of yet. Maybe that will happen as well, but we'll see. But once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you taking the time out of your weekend for joining us. If you want to see what all the hubbub was all about earlier this morning, go ahead. It's the video right before us. It is Lakerholic Spotlight, episode 9. MagicMan got a chance to see it. I drew the short straw and was the host of our, I guess, this episode. So Laker Tom was very adamant. We even made a bet. I made a bet begrudgingly, but I said, okay, why not? Do you think Anthony Davis will start the season at the 4 or at the 5 position?
Ultimately, I think he'll start at the 5.
Okay. I just don't think they have a choice. I think as long as you have LeBron there playing, and if he's in the lineup, is it really smart to have him going ahead and playing, as at the 3 spot? Now, you might be able to get away with it with some lineups, but let's say Phoenix, the second game. Okay, the first game of the season, Denver. You already know what works and doesn't work there to an extent. So hopefully you're able to go ahead with the bench being decreased, and let's say they have a bad game because they had too much of a buzz and hangover from getting the rings earlier that before the game started, so that often we've seen the team that's not collecting the rings end up on the winning side. So let's hope that happens. But the second game is against Phoenix. And it just seems to me that if you're going to situationally change your starting lineup to have one player come in and one player come out, I really think Vando is the guy that, unfortunately, even though he doesn't help you much in the offensive end, defensively, he's the right guy and right mix to do so, especially when you have three still athletic, even in Kevin Durant's case. I don't want to call him a wing, but you don't want to call him like a true big body power forward up there. But you have three essentially wings that are playing on Phoenix that will go ahead and create havoc. So you need something to combat that in Vando. I just think that's a better mix than leaving Rui out there in the starting lineup to start off. And again, Rui is it's so much more advantageous if he's the first guy coming off your bench.
Yeah, 100%, Gerald. I agree with that. I agree. I think uh, the proof is in the pudding. Vando started. Rui was the first guy off the bench, and the Lakers were all the better for it. Their best five-man lineups include all three of who we think: Reeves, Davis, James, and either a combination of Vando or Rui in four of the five. D'Angelo Russell was the other one. But yeah, that's what's going to work best, Gerald. And I think ultimately Ham's just going to go back to that well, because when you evaluate the second half of the year, the Lakers played their best brand of defense when Vando started and played their best brand of offense when Rui came off the bench. That's just the bottom line.
He just plays so much better lining up against those second units. I understand that he's a good matchup against Jokic, but they kind of figured him out halfway through that series. Jokic found it a little bit easier to score against him as the game went on, as the series went on. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to go on this season. The Lakers don't have a perfect roster, but they have a roster of guys that I think can do very well. If they work together and have good team chemistry, I think that's going to be able to be a pretty good season overall for the Lakers, with the opportunity late in the season at the trade deadline to make some moves to put the team over the top. So we'll see what happens, my friend.
We
Yeah.
will, Gerald. I think similarly to last year, I don't think you can really go through all of the West teams and say, we at this roster is well constructed top to bottom. I think there are flaws or foibles in probably the top 10 to 12 teams in the West. I think you can make an argument for, top 6 or 7 as to why they should be the best. But yeah, it'll be an interesting year for sure.
High Octane says, missed the Team USA game today. Did any performance surprise us? No, not really. It was just a steady mix. And that's the thing with Team USA. They've got depth. They've got depth of quality players at 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", all of which are long, all of which can play good defensively. And even though they may be flat at times and not shooting the ball well, they can always create turnovers and create transition points, which is something they rely on a lot. I've seen so far in both games. But then that's been the point and been the case for them pretty much standard for decades now. When they're able to create turnovers and create easy transition points, it's really hard to go ahead for the other team to keep up with them. I know that, again, of the players I think that played best, Jalen Brunson, I think with 8 assists, and I think 13 points,
Yeah,
8 assists. Anthony Edwards had 15, but basically he's just giving you points right now as far as just some volume shooting. And, of course, Austin Reaves was chipped in with 7, 3, and 3. Really solid in his time there. I liked what he did, much better on the defensive end than he did against Puerto Rico. Um, yeah, Condor, Ox 1947, he's always a bully, but I just choose to ignore him. It's okay. But once again, I wish they were Bose headphones, but I don't. Magic Man, are those Bose headphones? For me, they're not. Mine are not Bose headphones.
mine are not Bose headphones, Gerald. No, these are Sony. I've got the WHX. I think I've got the 4000.
Right.
So
Well, there you go. I got some Sennheisers that I'm wearing right now. But again, before we head on out, my friend, just a solid performance from Team USA. Looking forward to seeing what they'll do tomorrow against Spain. And last, as Z was there this morning, we were talking, of course, with Laker Tom on AD playing the four. Playing the four. Be nice in the real world if AD can play the four, but the Lakers just don't have a team roster that can support it at this time.
No, not at all. Not at all, Gerald. Unfortunately, there's just we don't have the requisite shooting depth to even consider that a remote possibility. Like there's just no way in hell you could come up with a good idea right now of LeBron and AD shooting the majority of our 3-point shots in the front court. Just bad idea.
Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate you joining us. Team USA once again cruised to an easy victory, 92-62, as they play Spain tomorrow, 12:30 p.m. Pacific, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Looking forward to going ahead and checking that out and being here for the post game will be Magic Man Sean Grice. Joe said he would look forward to be joining him. He said that earlier in the chat, so hopefully that will be the case. I'll try to see if I can make it as well. We'll see what happens during the course of our Sunday afternoon, enjoying this great Lakers weekend. I do want to mention that we've got right now, as of right now, not one, not two, but 3 team previews scheduled for next week. So I'm looking forward to that. Are we scared of Spain? They've been playing very well. So Magic Man, yeah, I know you're Team Canada all the way, but just observing Team USA, I am always concerned because the fact is that Team USA is not shot well from the 3-point area. If Spain is hot from behind the arc, they can stay in it most definitely. Your thoughts on Spain before we head on out?
Yeah, I agree 100%, Gerald. If the United States is still having those tricky issues with the 3 ball, Spain could give a hard knocks lesson because they're very good facilitating team. They have pretty much all 5 players on the floor at that time are secondary playmakers. They can move the ball, and you're also required to shoot. So if you can't shoot and pass, you're not going to play for Spain. I think it's going to be a good test because, as you said, Joe, if they haven't fixed up those issues yet, Spain shooting can keep them in a game.
It'll be a back-to-back, and if they only shot 27% from behind the arc on the front game of a back-to-back, usually doesn't get better. But we'll see. Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. Team USA did cruise to an easy 92-62 victory over Slovenia, a Luka Doncic-less Slovenia. But if you have any questions or comments, always below in the chat, either in the chat or right below us right here on the YouTube channel. Facebook, you can go ahead and do the same, or just follow us wherever you can. Let us know. Give us a shout out on social media. Again, we are just over 60, right around 60 subscribers away from the magical 1,000 mark on YouTube. So go ahead and do so. If you can, like and subscribe to get the latest notifications when we go live on the air. Or on LinkedIn, if you give me a shout out, Gerald Glassford, I can go ahead. Once I'm over 100 connections on LinkedIn, I'm at 85, I think, right now. I can go ahead and showcase our show there live as well. So that'd be a cool thing, cool way to go ahead and promote the channel there. But you guys are from 57. Okay, absolutely. So we're 57 away from 1,000. Yep, looking forward to it. Just a few more, definitely indeed. But Magic Man Sean Grice, true, yeah. Rubio is not playing. He's announced some time off for the rest of this season, the NBA season, and FIBA as well, to take care of his mental health, Zangerstein. So he is not going to play anytime soon. Maybe he won't even play in the Olympics, but that's a wait and see. But we wish him all the best. All kidding aside, as far as Rubio in the past, as far as whether you loved him or hate him, he's been a solid player. He came back from that terrible knee injury, so I'm wishing him the best as far as his mental health is concerned. Absolutely. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, we've got 3 team previews coming up later this week, and we also have a Team USA post game tomorrow coming at you. Looking forward to it. Plus, also our Lakers shows. We've got those coming along the way too. But hoping everybody will go ahead and have a good time this weekend. Any last thoughts, Sean, before we head on out?
You know what, Gerald? Outside of when they play Canada, go go USA, go. I'm always gonna root for our neighbors if we don't play each other.
See, there you go. Absolutely. That's a good spirit. Yeah, I would expect you to go ahead, Team Canada first. Absolutely. I'll say for me, win or lose, go red, white, and blue. I stand behind our country, and like others, whether they win or lose, I'll stand behind them when they win. I'll stand behind them when they lose. It takes a real Team USA to supporter to go ahead and do so. So here's hoping that Team USA will go ahead and advance or play well here in their time and exhibition, warming up for a good FIBA run. So we'll see. But it is the Magic Man, Sean Grice, and me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much for watching and listening. We truly appreciate it. But we'll see you tomorrow. I don't see any shows on the horizon tonight. I'm going to go ahead and just take some time off, maybe edit these shows, throw them up on audio. We'll see what happens. But Magic Man most likely will be around tomorrow, unless he's otherwise detained. Hot
I'll be.
yoga, chocolate.
Yeah,
I saw chocolate strawberries, hot yoga
yeah,
for you.
yeah. That was Sky Dweller having a little bit of fun.
Oh, that's for sure, indeed. But thanks so much
Yeah.
again for watching and listening. Truly appreciate it. We'll see. Am I watching movies tonight? I may. I may try to see if I can catch The Flash. That was what I did see. I did see Mission Impossible this past week. I enjoyed it. It's one of the best movies I've seen this year, but it's not been a great year for movies. So I put it on par with Barbie and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse as far as three solid movies. So I enjoyed all three. So looking forward to catching more. I may go check out Oppenheimer still before it leaves theaters. But tonight I may just go ahead and watch for The Flash. So movie recommendations for me. I need something lighthearted. Hmm. Well, I know Barbie is like touch and go with everybody here. I still like Mission Impossible. It was a little long, 2 hours, 45 minutes for people, but you know what? It's again, Tom Cruise running like a mad fool all over the place. Again, I know it's disappointed as far as overall the box office, but still, it's a good watch. And hopefully everybody get a chance to enjoy it because, he puts a lot of effort. No one can say Tom Cruise doesn't put a great effort into his movies. So anybody who jumps a bike off a cliff, yeah, yeah, that'll do it.
That is so cool.
So I guess you enjoy baby oil when doing hot yoga and chocolate strawberries. My gosh, man.
Wow.
TMI. TMI. Zangerstein, I like Barbie too. I thought it was pretty solid, and my girls absolutely enjoyed it, and they thoroughly loved it. And that to me is what counts the most. So Old School is fun. Yeah, yes. If you want, there's a movie recommendation for you. Go ahead and check out Old School for a good laugh indeed. It's not PC, but it's still great. It's a great movie. Yeah, love you, Blue. Love you,
Yeah.
Blue. Yes.
So yeah, something like
Let's
that.
go streaking.
Maybe go something with like dodgeball, duck, dive, dip, dodge, duck.
I will say though two things before anniversary as far as Tropic Thunder. I think that's also a not very PC movie, but if you like a good laugh, it is I think having their anniversary. And Enter the Dragon. If you are in a major city, Enter the Dragon is playing on Sunday and Wednesday in theaters in a exclusive run for Sunday and Wednesday to honor the 50th anniversary. And definitely, if you are a Bruce Lee fan, that is his last fully completed movie. So hopefully, you get a chance to check out that out. So, yep, there's some thoughts for you on that. But thanks again, everybody, for watching and listening. Hopefully, you'll be coming back tomorrow to go ahead and Magic Man check out his post game for Team USA versus Spain. But for Magic Man and me, Gerald Glassford, thanks so much again for watching and listening. If you haven't yet subscribed, what's stopping you? What's keeping you? Please go ahead and do so. The Silence of the Lambs is very lighthearted. Clarice. Oh my gosh. There you go. It's, of course, have everybody out there have a great Lakers weekend. And of course, right here, we will too at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.